Welcome to Subramani. Today I'm going to talk to you about a very important topic which is ignored, is the so-called science of forecasting. To quote Mark Twain, forecasting is very difficult, especially if it is about the future. Right? It is really very difficult to predict what is going to happen in the future, and I'll come to the reasons as to why. Let me first take you through an incident which happened, I think, sometime in the 1990s or even early 2000. We used to deal with a person in the forging industry. Now, both the people about whom I'm going to talk are dead, so never speak evil of the dead. But still, this guy was in the forging industry, and we thought he's the ultimate authority on the forging industry, which means we thought he knew the supply, the chain, the pricing, the manufacturing process, and the end result. We thought he knew the whole process, and he would speak very well. He would be very articulate, and so therefore there's a tendency to believe this. Not that he was very educated or something, but he's been in the business for a very long time, so we believed it. So one day he wanted to meet somebody in the steel industry, and since we were also dealing with some of the steel companies, we organized a meeting. In fact, I organized a meeting, and the three of us met in South Bombay in a nice hotel, and we were talking, and this entrepreneur was talking, and the employee of a steel company was listening. When this entrepreneur went to the loo, the employee turns to me, employee of the steel company turns to me and says, "Subra, this man is talking through his hat." Oh, let me be more precise. This man is talking through his pagdi, right? And I had a good laugh, and then he said, "I think there is no connection between his tongue and his brain. He's talking nonsense about the steel industry. He has no clue what he's talking about, the production, the demand, what is going to happen. He has no clue. He's wrong." It was very clear to me that suddenly I got a rude shock from a person whom I thought was an expert in a particular field, was talking nonsense because of various reasons. We will come to the reasons much later on. So you realize that predicting, like Mark Twain says, predicting about the future is really difficult. Then you sit down and see why that happens. Also, we tend to believe people who are more articulate. This is again in the same hotel that it was happening. There was a press conference about the hotel industry, and there was a CFO who was not very articulate, but there was a young person who was very good. He was an IIM Ahmedabad person who was just ridiculing the management, saying this is such a wrong time to be investing, the market is down, you should not be investing. And that share, I can tell you, after they finished all of breaking down and rebuilding the hotel, which was done during very bad times when occupancy was low, and then when the occupancy went up, their rates that they could charge just went through the roof. I realized how completely wrong we are to trust people with a lot of flamboyance rather than trusting people with substance. This is a mistake which luckily for me, I had made it much at a younger age. So from then on, I decided that I will not get carried away by this. Now coming to another quote by Scott Adams. He says there are two ways of looking at the future. One is you look at your tarot cards or astrology, etc. Go to the extent of adding parrots. So you just pick up a lot of shares, keep it there, and train a parrot to pick up a stock, and that is one way of predicting. But this is something which people will find it is ridiculous, that how can you do this? And the other method is by putting all this information into nice data form and using very good quality high GSM paper for printing it, binding it, and then giving it to people and saying, here is a research report. Well, both of them have more or less the same level of accuracy anyway, in general, if you talk about research reports. Now, what is the reason why these research reports are not very accurate? One is the quality of information that you need for making research reports is huge, and you have to get it from various sources. Many of those sources are just not available to the common man. It is available only to governments, not even to the big research companies may not be able to access it. So trying to get correct real-time information relevant from good authentic sources is very, very difficult. So first of all, the quality of information that is needed to say what is going to happen in the future is very difficult to get. Second, you don't even know what is relevant, and taking the correct information from there, which means there is noise in that. You are picking up something which you think is data, but it could be sheer noise. So you don't even know how to make the distinction between information and noise. It's again very difficult to do that. Thirdly, the bias of the person making the research report, that also comes in, right? If the head of equity trading or the fund manager says, Subra, I want to buy some automobile shares, can you make the reports of Tata Motors and Ashok Leyland? He's already created the bias in my body, right? So I know he is going to buy Tata Motors and Ashok Leyland, and I want to keep him happy, so which means I should not take a view contrary to what he is taken, right? So bias comes into play. These 3-4 things harm your information or the research report that you make. So this is difficult. First of all trying to know what is information, what is noise, and what is bias is very difficult, takes a very, very long time, right? So if I have a position in a particular share, I will always be biased. So if you give me a report today on Infosys or a Wipro, I will be biased. If you give me a report which is negative on HCL, I would happily read it because I've already sold it, right? Buy it back again is a different thing, but as of today I don't have it. So I will be biased towards these reports, right? So whenever I'm collecting data, I will create that bias in my own head. So how do you know whether a person is coming out with good quality data, good quality research, right? First of all is to find out his or her own track record. What is the track record? And you can know the track record only if you track a person over 5-6 years, maybe to 1 or 2 business cycles, and knowing which industry. For example, it is easier to get far more accurate information from say steel and cement, because these are largely companies which are single product, so you track them, and most of the analysts that I know who track these industries can come to the EPS of these companies very closest to the next rupee, simply because most of them would have Excel models where then they will be able to put their weekly sales, monthly sales, everything. So data comes out very, very accurately in terms of the EPS. Does not mean they can get the PE right, because PE is behavior. How human beings will behave in the future, you have no clue. Last March 2020, we were hit by something called a corona. I mean, we were hit maybe in Jan, but by February, March, the market fell. And none of us could have predicted that the market would come back so quickly, right? That is human behavior. I could never have predicted, even today when I sit with numbers, I can't believe that housing picked up, right? So there are 2 ways to react to a problem. Somebody says, oh my God, there is a problem, I'll die, let me have a kid first. And there are some people who say, oh my God, there could be such a big problem, let me not have a kid. How are you going to be able to predict how the human behavior will be, right? That is what makes prediction difficult. So see the accuracy with which he is predicting, see whether he is getting good quality data which he is using sensibly, see whether the person who is predicting is giving you a range of values and what could happen, what good, bad, ugly scenario, how could the EPS go, how could the PE go. Don't be harsh on a person who is inaccurate, or reward a person who is accurate very highly. He may have got there by luck also. So understanding all this and understanding what is relevant data. If I gave you all that Virat Kohli has done in his life, it will be a huge amount of information. Unfortunately, that is not enough to predict how Virat Kohli will bat today or how many runs he will make today. But you know that in the long run he will be consistent. His standard deviation is not very high. He will not play very, very foolish strokes. and this you can only predict his style. You can say how Yuvraj will bat or how a Sehwag will bat. I'm just talking about people with very differential styles, but you cannot say how much he will score. It is impossible to say how much that person will score on that day. You know that Rahul Dravid's style can be predicted, Yuvraj's style can be predicted, Rishabh Pant's style can be predicted. Score for that day can't be predicted. I keep telling people, you need not know how to lay an egg to enjoy a good omelette, right? Similarly, you don't need to know with great accuracy as to how much the PE of this company will be. You can take a long range view and say, okay, infrastructure has not done well over 10 years. These are a couple of companies which have picked on infrastructure. I will hold on to this and wait for the tide to turn. I do not know whether it will turn in 3 months, 6 months, 8 months. If I had done it 3 years ago, I would still have been correct. But still, I would have paid a very heavy price for holding on to these, because last 3 years nothing has happened. And the infrastructure turnaround could have happened in 2018, 2019, 2020, but it has not yet happened in 2021. Will it happen in 2021? Will it happen in 2022? We don't know. Is the government spending a lot of money on infrastructure? Yes. Will it have an impact? Yes. When will it have an impact? No. We don't know. So understand how forecasts happen, understand the limitation, see what you can do about it, see what accuracy level they've had in the past. Don't go by what the media says, don't go by the quality of paper that is used, right? So once you can put all this together, you know when you see a research report, what are the portions which are believable, what are the portions which are not believable, what is bias, what is noise. Only when you know all this can you understand a research report. And like they say very correctly, do not read a research report which is given to you free, which means somebody wants you to act on the basis of that report, and that person has got a counter benefit of you acting, right? He may be holding a position, want to sell, he may have given a prediction that should go up, so he needs to spread that report all over the place so everybody reads it, believes it, and buys the share. If you don't understand for whom it was made, it is like picking up a prescription on the road from a very good doctor, very reputed hospital, and saying, this is good, this is a very good prescription from a good doctor, so let me go and consume this medicine. It doesn't happen. It has to be made for you. So these are the problems or limitations of a equity research report or any research report which depends on how the human behavior is going to be in the future. Since we can't predict that, we just don't know what the PE will be. We can predict the EPS. Thank you.